A very good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking this time to attend this agent training session here. So we have here Miss Jarabel, the regional manager of TIWA, which is actually a mix of TAFE International Western Australia and Western Australian Government School. So, all right, Jarabel, give it a go.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, team. Good morning, everyone. As Tim mentioned, I'm the regional manager for Southeast Asia at TIWA. First of all, thank you, Yes Education, for giving me this opportunity to meet all of you online. I'm going to jump straight to my presentation because I've got a lot of information to share with you. So let's start with this screen here. And I'm just going to jump back to slide 1. Now, because this whole webinar is about TAFE and public school, I will touch just a little bit about Perth, Western Australia. So for those of you, if you're familiar with Perth, great. If you're not, I'm just going to mention a little bit. Number one, we are the largest state in Australia. A lot of people are not aware, even though Melbourne and Sydney are very popular in the Southeast Asian region, Western Australia is actually the largest state, with Perth being the capital city. As listed on your screen, you can see Perth is home to only 2.6 million people. So it's not a very dense city. The good thing about that is it's a large state with a lot of employment opportunity, but when it comes to, say, competition, it's not as great as larger cities. So when it comes to employment opportunity, Perth is a great place. What I like to highlight is we share the same time zone with most of your countries. With Vietnam, I think it's only 1 hour difference. Malaysia, same time zone. So as opposed to the eastern states, it will be about 3 to 4 hours difference. It is a very multicultural city in Perth. I came here as an international student myself 25 years ago. And living here, it feels like, you know, you get to meet people from all over the world. So it's great for, again, Southeast Asian. We love our culture. We are very community knitted type of culture. You will find it here in Perth. You know, you have a huge Vietnamese community, big Malaysian network as well. So when international students come here, it's very easy for them to adapt. Another thing worth highlighting is Perth is very clean and safe. My children, they are teenagers. They catch public transport into the city, half an hour in, half an hour back. I've got no issues with that. And even when I came here as an international student myself, I felt the safety of the city. Also, something I love highlighting is we have we have 40% discount for public transport for international students. So it's a lot of savings for international students, especially by the time you convert the currency. The cost of living in Perth is known to be the least compared to the rest of Australia. When it comes to rental, grocery shopping, dining in restaurants, it's still a little bit cheaper compared to eastern states. Although for international students, I would highly recommend that they learn to cook. So here are some pictures of Perth or in Western Australia. The Treetop Walk, these are in the regional area. Rottnest Island is very close to the Perth Metro. That's where you hear a lot about the quokka. And I've put the Blue Boat House because that seemed to be quite popular on Instagram. And of course, this is all smack in the city. So you can see, even though we are a city, we are still surrounded by a lot of natural or nature, like the Swan River, the ocean. And we have, you know, one of the best stadiums in Australia-wide. Coldplay came to Perth last year. He only chose one city, which is Perth, not other cities. And then, of course, we have a lot of festivals happening in Perth. So let me dive straight into TIWA stands for TAFE International Western Australia, but we have two arms. We have the right arm, which is the WA government schools, which includes primary and secondary schools, and then we have TAFE colleges, where it's vocational training. I'm going to start the first half of the presentation to talk about the government schools. So why choose the WA public schools? I spoke to Pafan just now, who mentioned that, a lot of students tend to choose eastern states. So this is a good opportunity to learn about why WA, apart from, Perth, Western Australia, is closest to your country. We are, number one, it's government owned, so there's a lot of security and trust, and we maintain a standard for nationally. There is a caring and nurturing environment in public schools. I have experienced, or I have heard of students who pull out of private schools to join the public system, because the public system has got more resources to support, say, students with disabilities, students with special needs, students who need language support. They tend to come to the public system. Of course, we have the modern facilities and high quality teaching. It's also because the government, the state government, invests a lot in education. So we have to make sure that the infrastructure for TAFE, for the public schools, they are up to standard. And of course, when we talk about public schools, there's a public school in every few suburbs in the whole of Western Australia. So when you apply to a public school, you get to choose. You can put 4 preferences on the application form. We have dedicated international student coordinator in some of these schools as well, to assist and support international students, especially schools with a number of international students. You will find a dedicated international student coordinator there. Of course, there is a diverse subject choices, and we also have the intensive English center, which I will touch on very quickly. So the schooling system in Australia is divided to 12 years. You have the first 6 years of primary and the second 6 years in secondary. The secondary school is divided to lower secondary and upper secondary. With the upper secondary, year 11, year 12, that's actually the crucial year of a lot of students, which means if they come in at a certain age, how do I explain this? When they come in at a certain age, and if they have to study English, it might push their age to over 18 when they graduate, which means they can only attend senior high schools in Perth, which we have 2 located in Western Australia, in Perth. And also the year 11 and year 12, that is also where they decide whether they want to get their WACE certificate, whether they want to sit ATA, sorry, they need to get their WACE certificate, but whether they need to sit their ATA to go to university, or whether they want to choose different pathways to either get into university or get a different qualification, for example, from TAFE. So as I've mentioned before, there is language support in the public system. English language is very important because it is the foundation of mainstream schooling. If their language is weak, they will struggle in every subject. So we make sure that international students get the support they need. On top of just day-to-day studying, they also need to pass either the ALNA or NAPLAN. And I've put it here. The NAPLAN stands for the National Assessment Program Literacy and Numeracy, and the ALNA is Online Literacy and Numeracy Assessment. Our international students, actually all students, need to pass either one for them to get their WACE certificate, which is their high school finish certificate. And for them to do the ALNA and NAPLAN, they must achieve fairly high English, or their English must be up to standard. And then for international students who choose to study in the public schools here, most of the time, their first year, I call that the transition period for international students where they transition from their home country to studying in mainstream, fully English speaking environment. So quite often, our international students will have to be enrolled into the Intensive English Center, which is IEC. The IEC is usually a one-year program, but if students improve very quickly, they can actually exit IEC to join mainstream. Something worth noting about IEC is they are actually studying the curriculum of their academic year. So it's not just purely English support. We also have EALD, which stands for English as an Additional Language for or Dialect. And this is actually for the later year for for international students. If they start, say, year 10, year 11, year 12, after completing their IEC, they enter mainstream, but they find that language, they still need a bit of support. They can then enroll for the EALD. So IEC, as I've mentioned before, it is crucial. It helps students acquire the skills and understanding they need to transition into mainstream schooling. And IEC delivers the whole West Australian curriculum. So if a student is in year 9, they will be in IEC year 9. They will be studying all the subjects of year 9 students, but they will have language support on the side. So IEC is very handy. We also have, by the way, IEC is it's like a center that is located in the high schools or the primary schools. So students don't have to travel to a different location to do this. They are studying in the school environment. And as I've mentioned before, most students will do it in 1 year. Very rarely that they exit more than 1 year, but they will study, say, 1 year in IEC year 9, and they will continue into mainstream year 10. So they're not wasting any time, just studying something else, and they are progressing with their academic year. In saying that, for year 11 students, we often get a lot of students wanting to come to Australia for year 11 and year 12. Unfortunately, in order for them to pass their year 12 to get their WACE certificate, they must study full year 11 and year 12. But if they have to study 1 year of IEC year 11, when they finish that IEC, they still need to continue, or they have to repeat their year 11 and year 12. So that is a government requirement. There's no way around that. Although we do have a partner called Phoenix Academy, they do English high school HSP, high school English preparation, high school preparation for English language. They can do, they can prepare the students for their English, but whether a student gets exempted from the IEC, it's on the discretion of the school and the principal. So that is something you need to bear in mind. So we talk about IEC schools. We have 8 primary, which is, I think the primary schools, they are the black circle. And then we have 8 secondary, which is the yellow circle. So as you can see, they are scattered throughout Perth City. And there are many, many other primary schools and secondary schools. If your client or if the parents choose a different schools for various reasons, maybe because they want to live with relatives who live in a different suburb and they want to study in a school that doesn't have IEC, that is still possible. Again, it's up to the principal. If the principal reviews the application and says, okay, this student has actually fairly strong English, this student doesn't require IEC, then they will accept the student to start in their school instantly or straight away. But if the principal says, no, their English is still weak, or the student starts mainstream and struggles in class, the school has every right to refer or send the student to a different school that has IEC program or IEC program. So that's also something worth noting. Specialist programs, another benefit of the public system is different schools would have different specialist programs. It ranged from aviation, basketball, science, mathematics, soccer. The best way to find out about the specialist program is to go to the website because there are so many schools in Western Australia. It's very hard for me to tell you, oh, this school is known for aviation, this school is known for dance and drama. You just need to go to the website, the Department of Education's website, type in the search and, to find out which school has what specialist programs. So the Department of Education has got a dedicated website just for, what do you call that, public schools. So please, I'll share the link later. What are the entry requirements? So this might be a bit of a surprise to you that there are no entry requirements for school students. They don't need to show IELTS, no English, and no academic. They just need to send in their school report card to show that they are studying in year 11 or year 7, year 8, and you just need to submit their application form, passport, and academic grades. Bear in mind, students are allocated based on their age. So if they are 16 years old, it depends on when their date of birth is, because the schooling in Australia is July to June to July. Yeah. So even though they start school in February, how we allocate the students depends on their date of birth. So some 16-year-olds might be in year 10, some might be in year 11. So it's really important to put their date of birth on the application together with the passport so we can gauge which year they will enter. It doesn't matter what academic year they're studying in their home country. The selection process, unfortunately, the schools here, we don't have a quota. So I quite often get agents asking, can you please advise whether this school has got any spots available? I can't do that because we don't have direct access to the schools. We need to receive the application from you. And once you've listed the preference, we then send it off to all the schools, and the schools will then come back to let us know whether, number one, whether they have any spots available, and number two, whether they are happy to give an offer to the student. So that's something different to the Eastern State schools. And I think that's that. The school terms, there are 4 terms per year, and every term has got a school break. So as I've mentioned before, it starts from February or end of January to they finish at around December. And then they have their big break before they start the following year. School fees is paid by semester. So one semester has 2 terms. So they have to pay for the whole semester. They can't pay term by term. And this is the tuition fee listed on the screen. As you can see, this is the annual tuition fee for their school year. It does get more as they get older. So when they go to upper secondary, year 11, year 12, it's 18,000, but they start off in primary with 14,000. Excuse me. For those who, and most will require IEC, it's just $3,000 on top of their tuition fee. So the $3,000 for the whole year, it works out very reasonable to have that additional support when they're in school. Okay, so what's important for um, underage students, it's worth noting that uh, their welfare is a big, not issue, but a big factor as well when it comes to their application, especially for visa grant. We need to make sure we get this right. So I've put it in a table to make it easier to understand. For years 1 to 6, they must live with their parents. Year 7, they can live with their parents or approved relatives, and they must be blood relatives, so uncle, aunties, grandparents. Year 8 and over, they can live with parents, relative, or homestay. Now, if you have a friend here who's willing to, or if the parents have friends in Perth and the child will be living with their friends, then we would ask the friends to register to become a homestay, an approved homestay family. Then we can accept that application. We use the Australian Homestay Network. Most of you would be familiar with it. If you're not, just Google AHN Homestay in Perth or in Australia. It's a huge network, and we use AHN for our underage students. So that is the end for the schooling section. I'm trying to keep in time. Now let's move to the TAFE. So TAFE, it stands for Technical and Further Education. So it started off as, all the technical skills, but now there are a lot more benefit in studying TAFE. And I'm going to share this table. If you're not already familiar with the AQF level, AQF, which stands for Australian Qualification Framework. When they're in year 10, year 11, year 12, you're looking at approximately level, 3, 2, 3, 4. In TIWA, so in TAFE here, TIWA, which is TAFE International, we have Certificate 3 to Advanced Diploma. Some TAFEs in Sydney and Victoria, they have bachelor's degree under their TAFE system, but not for TAFE in Western Australia. So when they finish their diploma and advanced diploma, if they want to go to university, we can package their studies with the universities, or they can pathway into some of the bachelor's degree. So our TAFEs here, our qualification, is worth noting that certificate 4 is almost equivalent to year 12. And then the diploma is equivalent to first year bachelor's degree. As you know, the Australian bachelor's degree is 3 to 4 years. So if a student has completed the diploma at TAFE and would like to continue in the same study area, for example, business to business or education, early childhood education to Bachelor of Education, then they can transfer up to 1 full year of advanced standing or credit into the universities. And please note that bachelor degree is, or undergraduate is AQF level 7. At the moment, in this current climate where the visa refusal is very high, visa processing is slow, we do not encourage students downgrading their qualifications. So if your current student, if you have a student who wants to study at TAFE but already has a bachelor's degree, I would highly recommend to apply to a master's degree with the university. You do not want to risk your student getting a visa refused because TIWA will not allow reapplication. So as soon as the visa is refused, we will cancel the COE and we will not reissue a new COE for that student. Although in saying that, we will review it on a case-by-case basis if you have a very strong reason for the student to study a diploma while they already have a bachelor's degree. But in my experience, most students will not get the approval and will, sorry, that's my dog. Yeah, so please encourage them to pursue a master degree instead or postgraduate. now's not the time to bark, my dog. Okay, so the benefit again for studying at TAFE is, of course, we are owned by the state government, owned and operated by the state government. Very similar to the public school, our government invests a lot in the infrastructure. So end of this year, the South Metro TAFE, they're going to experience a full facelift in their commercial kitchen, in their restaurant, and I think it was 3 or 4 million dollars upgrade. So there's a lot happening in upgrading our facilities. TAFE has been around for over 100 years, and generally TAFE has got over 300 qualifications for all students. For international students, it's just over 100 qualifications, which includes Cert 3, Cert 4, Diploma, and Advanced Diploma. And these courses are delivered across 23 campuses. So you can see on your screen, those are all the study area from accounting, business management. It goes all the way down to early childhood, community services, health, hospitality, cookery, tourism, and down to nursing. So it's a long, extensive list, and each study area branches out to different diplomas and certificates. And of course, when I mentioned about 23 campuses, I'll show you the location right now. So as you can see on your screen, all the TAFE campuses are divided to 5 colleges. These are the 5 colleges. These are the 5 colleges here. You have North Metropolitan, South Metropolitan, North Regional, Central Regional, and South Regional. So the reason why we call it regional is because it's located further from the metro area. It doesn't mean they are like a village or underdeveloped places. These are all developed cities. So Broome, Geraldton, Northern, Bunbury, Albany, these are all, established cities. The only difference is they are further away from the Perth metro area where it's more populated. There are certain benefits to be studying in the regional. One of it is, you probably heard, it's the bursary, and I'll talk about it later as well. What you can see on your screen, these are just some of the photos from our campuses. So every course that a student studies at TAFE, they will be able to access the training facilities. If they want to study automotive, we have the automotive workshop, health and beauty. We have our own vet clinic, commercial kitchens and training restaurants. The restaurant is open to general public, the vet clinic as well. So this is where our students gain real hands-on practical training experience. We have state-of-the-art film and television studio. My daughter is in year 11. The Department of Education here allows students to merge their studies. So she's doing 4 days of high school and 1 day at TAFE, and she's actually doing the film and television studies, and it's such an impressive studio. So if you ever get the chance, to visit Perth, please get in touch and I'll show you around the campus. Of course, something that is highly, highly beneficial in getting a vocational qualification is the fact that it's hands-on training. It's small class sizes compared to big lecture theatre or big lecture hall. And of course, students get practical skills, especially for jobs that are in demand in Australia. And the lecturers that we have, they are all experts in their field. They all come from the industry. You won't find a lecturer who is an academic or a researcher in TAFE. They all share their knowledge based on their own experience. So that is really important. Many of our students when they graduate, they all end up working in their study area. So if they graduate in hospitality, most of the time they will be working in hospitality. Very rare that our students end up working, in as an Uber driver or Grab driver, because our students, as soon as they start TAFE, they are equipped, when they start TAFE, they know what they want to achieve. And when they finish TAFE, they will be equipped with the skills. Something worth noting is that our diploma pathways into these universities in Western Australia, we have recently signed up an agreement with UWA as well. So we have UWA, Murdoch, Curtin, Notre Dame, and ECU. It depends on which bachelor degree, but a few of our diplomas, can, for example, the business will then package to all three universities, but nursing is you can package nursing with Notre Dame University. If you're unsure, please reach out, and I'm more than happy to share the information, although everything is on the website. So I've mentioned before about the regional bursary. The regional bursary of $5,000, it's back. We've been promoting the bursary this year, and recently been announced that we will carry on till next year as well. So these are the campuses. Sorry. So here are all the campuses. You have Broome, Geraldton, Northern, Kalgoorlie, Bunbury, Albany, and Mandurah. It's not a regional campus, but Mandurah is eligible for the claim as well. So it's not like a scholarship where you use it against your tuition fee. So students still need to pay for their tuition fee. They still need to have enough money in the bank account when they apply for their student visa. But a bursary is more like a pocket money and a reward for our students if they choose to study in the regional area. Most of the time, students will claim their first $2,500 in semester 1 and the second $2,500 in semester 2. If a student wants a whole lump sum of $5,000, then they would skip receiving the bursary in first semester and claim the full $5,000 in the second semester. Admissions process. Let's look at what happens when you apply. So step 1, students will come to you to be counseled. Step 2, the applications get sent to TIWA, whether it's high school or schools or TAFE, get sent to the same email address at TIWA, or you send the same online application form. Then our team will issue a conditional offer and send it back to you, and you can then go through the checklist on the conditional offer. Please make sure that you go through thoroughly or what's requested on the offer. Once the conditions have been met, we then issue the COE. You make payment, then we issue the COE, and then you lodge the visa. Step 4 is the mandatory onshore orientation. That's something that a lot of agents forget to mention to the students. They need to attend orientation. So it's something that we emphasize, because that's where they get all the information, from timetable, public transport, all the amenities around the campus. If they need support with looking for accommodation, everything happens at orientation. So please make sure that the student attend the orientation. Also bear in mind, for those who are studying in the regional area, regional cities, they're not just half an hour away from Perth. So if they're going to study in Albany, which is about 5-6 hours drive from Perth, make sure they arrive Perth soon, and transport has been organized from Perth Airport to Albany. English entry requirement, most of our courses, it's 6.0 requirement with no band less than 5.0. Something that's missing on one of the bullet is early childhood education and care. The direct entry IELTS is 6.0, but no band less than 6.0. So minimum is 6.0. And then, of course, nursing is 7.0 with no band less than 7.0. So what happens to those students who do not achieve their minimum entry IELTS entry requirement? We can do English packaging with our partners in Perth. The minimum test, the minimum direct entry is 6.0. If they achieve 5.0 or 5.5, we can package. But if they achieve 4.0, then unfortunately, we would ask our students to improve their English in their home country first until they achieve a minimum of 5.0. So here are our partners. We work with 7 partners, and soon we are going to add the 8th partner. The good thing about packaging is they only need to pay $500 deposit to TIWA to receive a TAFE COE when packaging with one of our partners. And some of you may already work with some of these schools in Perth, but if you need recommendation or if you need assistance, I think number one, go to their website and have a look, find out their tuition fee, because TIWA, we don't have control over their prices. So find out about their tuition fee, how much do they charge per week. Most of these schools charge by weekly when it comes to English tuition fee. And some schools may have set commencement dates, and some schools have weekly commencement. So please go to their website to find out. And if you really can't find any information and you need someone to connect you to one of these schools, please let me know. All right, so what you see on the website, on your screen, that's our website. Try to familiarize yourself with our website. When I first started at TY, I found the website very handy. It's got a lot of information in it, and it's very easy to find info about courses and the packaging. And of course, if you want to package with the university, these are the instructions, which is also available on the website. Standard procedure is we need to receive all the information that you would send to TIWA for your TAFE. But on top of that, we also need the university's application. So, we need the which university you choose to go to. We need the full application for that universities. And we will only send out the offer once we get the offer from the university as well. And that's the end of my presentation. Before we jump into Q&A, team, do I have enough time to share the website?
Yeah, I think you can still give it like a brief showing on the website. Sure.
Okay, can you see the website on screen?
Yep, we can.
Okay, fantastic. So this is the TAFE website. I think everyone is interested in the bursary. Bursary is only available for TAFE, not for public schools. So with the bursary, click on the logo here. And what you see here with the 3 ladies jumping up in the air, yeah, that's the bursary. Click on that. It will take you to the landing page. Everything you need to know about the bursary is here. Eligibility, support, everything is here. But I like to highlight this little tab here, this button that says view eligible courses and campuses. This PDF is very, very helpful. I use this all the time. So if a student say, I want to study cookery in one of the regional campuses because I want to get the bursary, download this PDF. You can find it here. It will tell you Albany campus, which course students will be eligible for the bursary, or Broome campus, Bunbury campus, there's Geraldton. So this is a very handy PDF to keep. And then what I like to show is TAFE courses. If you go to TAFE, it will show you all the courses available here. But I like to click on this course catalog, and it spells out all the study area. If I click on, say, nursing, it will tell me that I've got a diploma of nursing. Actually, nursing is not a good example. Cookery, hospitality is a good example. If I click on hospitality, it will show me a full list of what's available under hospitality. If a student wants to study, say, Diploma of Hospitality Management, you click on this one, it takes you to the landing page. So when you submit an application form, you always list the highest qualification. In this case, it's the Diploma of Hospitality Management. But when you counsel a student, you start from the bottom. Even though the finished qualification is hospitality management, if you choose, say, one of these campuses here, always go to study pathway right at the bottom. And then it will tell you the study pathways available under hospitality management. They can choose pathway number 1, which is certificate 4 in hospitality. Pathway number 2 is certificate 4 in patisserie. And option number 3 is certificate 3 in commercial cookery. Even though the final qualification is a diploma, the different specialization kind of determines their final career outcome. So if they choose a Cert 4 in hospitality, they'll be working front of house, which is in a restaurant, in a hotel, dealing with customers, talking to people. If they choose Cert 4 in patisserie, they will end up working in baking or baking cakes, making desserts. And if they choose certificate 3 in commercial cookery, the end outcome of their career is working in the kitchen as a cook, a chef. So this is how I find the website very, very handy for any counselors. So that's under TAFE courses. If you want to access WA government schools, this is the tab to go to. And if you want to learn more about the university pathways, this is the tab to go to. So I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass the floor back to team. And if there's any questions, please, now's the time.
All right, thank you, Jarabel. So there are a few questions also. Okay, they do understand that TY is government owned, but is there any comment that you can make about the visa risk levels from TY's point of view?
Yeah. So at the moment, it is quite difficult to get a VET standalone visa, in saying that we are getting a few approved. TIWA is at assessment level 2. Generally, it will take, we've been told it will take about 3 months for visa approval. But for the feedback I got from the agents during my travels is it's taking 6 months, at least 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yes, which means when you counsel your student, you have to get them to work backwards, give yourself at least 6 months for visa and application. Yeah, minimum 6 months for that. In saying that, it might improve. Out of the countries that we have here, I think Thailand is assessment level 3. I just looked at the data last night. Oh no, that one's for Indonesia. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember what I read last night. So for Malaysia, it's still level 2. Malaysia, Vietnam, and Laos. Laos is 1 or 2. So I think it's 2. So for the level 2s, the government is now cracking down on, unfortunately, Vietnam. Even though Vietnam is level 2, we are seeing a fair few visa refusal, which is making a lot of agents quite nervous about when it comes to sending a standalone VET application. So I have asked some agents, if there's opportunity, speak to the students and get them to package with a bachelor's degree. And also the business, it's too generic. When I was in Vietnam, almost every second student wants to study business. Business is such a generic study. It doesn't really justify, studying a 1 year at TAFE just to get a business diploma. So I would, for those who are interested in business studies, I would highly recommend to package with the universities. They can package with Curtin, Murdoch, and ECU for the diploma of business. With hospitality, which is very popular for a lot of Vietnamese students, they need to show finance. Even though level 2 country, you don't need to show finance. We are seeing refusal because of finance. And with Malaysian students, still pretty good with the visa grant. I think with Malaysian students, generally we get a lot of Malaysian students coming at a mature age level. This year we have refused a lot of mature age students who are even 25 and over. They have to have very strong reasons. We have the TGS, which is TIWA Genuine Student Form. Even though our admissions team hasn't said to complete the TGS with the application form, usually you submit the application and then the admissions team will send you the TGS and say, please complete the TGS. For my markets, I highly recommend to complete the application form and attach the TGS together. The TGS, and I'm going to share screen again. So this is our website. On every page, you just need to scroll to the very bottom here, and it says forms for TAFE or promotion materials. So if you need our brochure, just come to the promotion materials, but form for TAFE, and you can find TIWA Genuine Student Form. That's on the first link here. When you submit an application form, please submit the TGS straight away. And on the TGS, it will ask you questions like, why do you choose PET? Why do you choose TIWA? Your plans and all those stuff. Basically, the reason why the department is so strict this year, is because they are trying to screen out or sieve out the non-genuine students. And we often get mature age students coming here, dropping out of class, and then working too much. So these are the students that we are trying to reduce. So as agencies, counselors start targeting junior students, high school grads, these are the ones that will have a much higher chance in getting their student visa. If you get a mature age students who you think, and as counselor, sometimes you get this feeling, this gut feeling that this student is non-genuine, learn to say no and, say we can't help you, because if you send a non-genuine student, it will affect the application. If the visa gets refused, it will then affect your rating with TIWA or, yeah.
Okay.
I hope I answered the question.
You definitely did. It's actually very, very clear, especially ladies and gentlemen, especially the part that let's say if the students are interested to apply for the VET program, it would be highly be recommended to package the offer with the bachelor degree with all of the TIWA's partner institution, as you've seen, like Murdoch, Notre Dame, and also the new partner UWA. Speaking of UWA, I understand it's new. Are there specific programs that we get, let's say, that programs can package with, or?
At the moment, no, we don't have a package program with UWA yet. It is still in the process of negotiation, but
Okay.
they will, of course, they will recognize our qualification upon completion. In fact, most universities will recognize the TAFE qualification upon completion and gain certain credit into their first year.
Oh wow, okay. That's very good to hear. That's good because I think for students, for usually from my experience, usually I would love students. I do understand that they want to study some vet vocational programs, but I would always encourage them that if you have the opportunity, eventually they should be able to progress into the bachelor's. So because that would be the the very good opportunity for a lot of the students as well.
Yeah.
Also another question about, because there has been a talk around about the EAD going to withdraw next year. Is there like a news about that?
Oh, what? Withdraw?
Yeah, the English as additional language, EALD.
Not that I know of.
Not
I haven't been advised on that. And EALD that we have for the high school, that one is only a additional survey. So it's just a very small component. We haven't been advised that it's going to be taken away.
okay. Great, great. Thank you. So understood on that. Another question is does all the schools offer IEC for international students? Sorry about that.
No, no. So there are, I think, like hundreds of schools in Western Australia, but only 8 primary and 8 secondary that has the IEC program.
Oh, only on the primary, sorry, the primary schools, is it? Oh, sorry.
8 primary and 8 secondary.
Okay, sorry. 8 primary and 8 secondary that offer the IEC program for international students. Okay, great, great. Very much understand.
And I'm going to share my screen very quickly again to the
Sure, of course.
website.
Go for it.
Okay, so on our homepage, you can click on, oh, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, okay.
definitely.
Click on WA Government School. Oh, I'm glad this is being recorded because I'm speeding up now. Click on View List of Government Schools Approved. And if you scroll down, these are all the government schools that we have. Like, there's so many pages, up to 3 pages. But if you click, so the top is for primary school and the bottom is for secondary school. If you click Intensive English Center, it only shows you the 8 schools. These are the 8 schools
Ah,
with the
okay.
IEC.
So as you can see, there's actually a filter option to show that that are the schools that have the intensive English centers.
That's right. And if you click the regions, it tells you like if you want to, if a kid wants to study in the southwest, I'm glad it's not showing because we don't send kids that far away. But if you unclick this, these are actually all the schools that will accept international students.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So you can see their area, South Metro, North Metro. It's usually South or North Metro, and these are the suburbs. And for school students, quite common, they want to come here and live with their relatives. Um, we get some with homestays, but
Mhm.
most of them would want to stay with relatives. So usually,
Okay.
as agents, counselors, the first question you ask is, do you have family, friends, or yeah, that you want to stay with? If they say yes, then start looking under suburb, because for a young student to travel from north to south, it's too far for them to travel that distance. So it's worth selecting the schools based on the suburb.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. And I'm an Asian mom, so I understand. I always get asked, which is the best school, which is the best, that has got this specialty program, that specialty program. But when you send a child who is 13 years old or 14 years old to study in a city, in a foreign city, you don't want your child to be traveling too far just to attend the best school. In the government system, all schools are the same. They will get the same influence, same friends, same facilities. So it's worth picking the school based on the suburbs.
Understood. Understood.
Sorry, Tim, I want to rewind back to what you mentioned before about packaging to bachelor's degree.
Yes. Yep.
I like to use this as an example, the diploma of nursing,
Okay.
and that's packaged to Notre Dame University. So a nursing degree is 3 years in Australia. A diploma at TAFE is 1.5 years. When a student completes a diploma at TAFE, they are qualified to apply for an enrolled nurse position. So if a student package their study TIWA and say Notre Dame University, they study 1.5 years at TAFE and they continue 2 more years at Notre Dame. So the total duration of study is 3.5 years. It's a little bit longer, it's only 6 months longer. However, when they've done 1.5 years at TIWA, they can start working in the industry. They can have access to the hospital and gain working experience in the hospital while they're studying their bachelor's degree for 2 more years. So can you imagine that student when they graduate, they will have far more working experience than students who just enrolled for a straight 3-year bachelor degree.
Okay, because they can work already after with
That's
diploma
right.
as an enrolled nurse, and it's definitely recognized, correct? For sure,
Yeah,
100%, right? Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. So
And
they will work.
another thing is when you package TAFE and bachelor, when they finish the TAFE, they gain industry qualification. So to work in a kitchen like a chef, you need the Cert 3, or to work in early childhood education, you need the Cert 3 as well. So that's how students end up working in the industry sooner than some of their peers because they have the TAFE qualification. So vocational diploma is very different to academic diploma. Navitas, they have their own diploma of nursing as well. But when they finish a diploma of nursing, they do not become a qualified enrolled nurse. So that's a big difference between the vocational diploma and the academic diploma.
Okay, sure, understood. Well, thank you. This is a very insightful information, Jarabel. This is something definitely we will need to think thorough. Definitely need to think further.
Yeah, and pleasure is all mine, to be honest, and really, really grateful we can do this. And anytime if you need refresher course